So, if you're ready and eager to start this new adventure, you'll fall in love with it immediately, just like it happened to me and lots of other people. Just think that to date there are about 1,000 people that you could already call colleagues, and that's because you'll become a great reflexologist very soon. About 1,000 people have had the opportunity to access this university career in Italy and many others worldwide, and we're growing strongly. Let's put the record straight and start from the very beginning. So, you have to know that in the foot there are nerve terminals that are reflections of everything we feel. And of course you know about the existence of psychosomatics. What is psychosomatics? It derives from the psyche. When you experience a time of suffering or stress, for example, and you transfer it to the body. That is to say, to the soma, which literally means the body. Not everyone knows about the existence of the opposite reaction, like when the body remains in a state of high stress for too long and it can influence the mind. On the other hand, what we're going to do is stimulate a part of the body in plantar reflexology and create powerful relaxation directed precisely to small areas that will connect with the nervous system. The latter will in turn trigger a reaction producing endorphins. This will bring relaxation, and consequently several stressed organs and parts of the body will relax as well as maximize their functions. Our aim in plantar reflexology is to recreate an equilibrium, both in the body and in every single area. We could work, for example, on the stomach, if it's particularly tense, and the more we work on it, the more the abdomen will start relaxing in real time while you're doing the treatment. The stomach will start gurgling due to the movement of the digestive juices. And it's an immediate reaction. However, there are some other areas where it takes more time to reach important results while we're treating. Consequently, it will be my concern to tell you all the secrets of plantar reflexology. That is to say, when I will work more on a single area and tell you how the stimulation of that point works, rather than working on other areas to achieve better results. Starting from the bottom, as I did in the past edition, from some old notes it seems to be a little bit obvious. However, I'll give you just a brief overview. The first maps found date back to 2500 BC. They were incisions on walls dating back to the days of Egypt, over 4,500 years ago, which represented stylized feet with organs. At that time, they already discovered that by stimulating those areas with pressure or small sticks, they could get reactions such as the decrease or disappearance of headache or back pain. Since that discovery, things have evolved and developed all the way up to the Western world. Eastern people are very good at this technique, but when it arrived in Europe during the 60s, it developed a lot in France. They westernized it and made it more concrete as well as viable, also for us Europeans. These are not abstract concepts but something more concrete, and you can notice that up to this point, it's all very simple. Let's see how these feet areas are divided. You have to know that all the organs placed in the right part of our body are reflected on the right foot, whereas all the organs of the left part of the body are reflected on the left foot. I want to give you an example. You'll find the right eye on the corresponding foot and the left eye on the left foot. On the other hand, there are organs located on a line which is called midline that split our body in two parts, the right one and the left one. The nose, for example, is placed on this midline. For this reason, what has Mother Nature done? She took all these nerve terminals and divided it exactly, such as the nose, the mouth, the throat, and all the parts situated at the centre of our body. Consequently, she reflected them on the feet, half on one foot and half on the other. We find all these areas which are split in half in the internal part of the foot, and in a moment you'll see from the drawings how to identify them. The important thing you have to keep in mind is that when there is a problem which has expanded to the right, you'll have to work on its reflected corresponding area. We're still at the beginning, but gradually we will devise our feet map of reflexology. Get ready and keep your markers close, because we'll also start drawing. Before doing so, we have to learn manual skills. In reflexology, there are basically two kinds of manual skills. One is manual skills of stimulation, which is very fast because when you do a stimulation with your finger, you create little patterns under the skin at the tip of these nerve terminals. The latter are stimulated and tell the nervous system to react to that specific stimulation. The other kind of manual skill is sedation. When an organ is overexcited, for example, one can come up to you and say that he or she feels bad and continues to throw up. In that case, it's not necessary to overstimulate the organ involved, but you'll have to sedate it in order to calm it down. Consequently, sedation means calming down an organ which is hyperactive. To be honest, you'll use manual stimulation skills for 95% of treatments, because when you stimulate, you're actually bringing about a stimulus to the nervous system in order to rebalance it. For this reason, you use sedation when you want to calm down something, or when the area hurts so much that it's impossible for you to stimulate it. On the contrary, if you do manual skills a little bit faster, the person could run from the pain and beg you to stop. In that case, you'll have to sedate and calm down all those overexcited nerve terminals of the foot. Let's go over a brief overview of the situation. Manual stimulation skills are not so easy, and you'll need some training. I can do it very well, for example, but it took me several months to optimize this movement. As you can see from these pictures, you have to do this movement very quickly with your finger. What you'll have to move is the last joint. In the beginning, I wasn't able to do so because I tended to move the entire hand. This is normal, and when you're wrong, just say, if Francesco Ciaccia was wrong too, I have high hopes. Manual skills of stimulation seem to be very fast because you have to bombard all these nerve terminals and you have to do it quickly. The first few times you won't be able to do it, so what you can do is use manual skills that I call for beginners. As you can see from the video, you have to do this kind of manual skills more slowly, while applying circular pressure. After that, you press the point, you stimulate it with a circular pressure, and then you move to a closer point and stimulate it too. The important thing while stimulating one point is to go deep until you cause a little pain. Just pay attention, this pain has to be minimum. Anyway, let's now define how much pain one might feel. There are times where, for example, customers complain about other colleagues of mine because they hurt them too much. In that case, the pain level is too high. If on a pain scale of 1 to 10, the maximum value is 10, you should stay over a range of 6 to 7. Six means that I start feeling the pain, whereas at 7 I feel the pain, but it's something acceptable. We have to stay over this range of values. When you're carrying out stimulation, you ask your patients if they feel pain. If they say no and add that on a pain scale of 1 to 10 they feel 3, this means that you're doing it too softly. They have to feel the pressure and the impression that you're going deep, because that's when the stimulus arrives. What you'll notice is that in some cases there are patients who might say to you that on a pain scale they feel 10, even if you've only touched them slightly. On other occasions there might be a patient whose foot is far more resistant, and when you start working on it until you reach a range of 6 to 7, it will take you more time and strength. You don't necessarily have to cause pain, but that's what happens while doing treatments in plantar reflexology. In this new edition of the course, I want to immediately answer the question that many of you have asked me after you've had the chance to get access to this course. The question is, Francesco, from where should I start? Is it true that I have to work all the dots starting from... There are people that tell me a given thing, those who start telling me that they have discovered that they would like to start, for example, from the urinary system and then move to the digestive tract and so on. This is how it works. Every person that will come to the studio to receive the treatment, or anyway, each person that you'll treat in plantar reflexology has their own problems. This means that making a standard treatment for everyone makes no sense. If a patient comes to you and suffers from stomach pain and back pain, those are the organs that you should treat. You'll not use a protocol where you work everything and the patient feels better. No, you have to focus on these things. Once you've done a good job in the area of the back, for instance, then you can work on the rest of the body to complete the job. You'll not work every point for everyone. This is something that I wanted to emphasize. Furthermore, since there are many areas that we'll have to treat in plantar reflexology, we have to find a pattern. Well, I have one actually, but I want to explain to you why I put forward this consideration. You should know that in Chinese medicine, our body seems to be involved and connected to the theory of the 5 elements. Each of these elements is connected to a feeling, an organ, a gland, and a viscera. Let's set some differences. I'll make an example. When I will talk about these whole things, we will call them modules. For example, you'll hear me talking about module 1, which is connected with joy. And anytime there's an alteration of this feeling, it hits its organ, the heart. Its connected viscera is the small intestine in Chinese medicine, and its gland is the thyroid. Therefore, here we have a full organ, a viscera that differs from the organs because inside they're empty, and a gland which basically produces hormones. By doing this, we'll never make mistakes. And it's easy to gather all these areas that I will indicate to you. Therefore, we have a total amount of 5 modules where we gather most of all the areas that we will stimulate in the foot. This brings me on to my final point. You have to train your manual skills for beginners, because if you have just started and manual stimulation skills are not your best skill, it's normal. As I told you, it took me 2 months to learn it. On the other hand, there are people who need 1 week to learn to do it immediately, or 6 months. It's very subjective. If this is not your best suit, you can always use the manual skills I provided you with, by means of which you can achieve great results too.